Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Saturday morning. I hope everyone's all right. I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone is having a good weekend. They've somewhat recovered after yesterday's very much breaking news. Obviously, I'm still very much an Ange supporter. I very much have a very fondness of him. If you do or don't, it's now super irrelevant. We now have to get on with things. We now have to move on things. We do have some breaking news, actually, ironically, coming from Fabrizio Romano around the manager talk. Well, obviously, we are linked to Thomas Frank. We are linked to Marco Silva. There is another name that we've been linked to who probably in a smart decision has rejected us, which the irony is I didn't want the guy anyway. So it's like, oh, okay, what a shame. So let's talk about it. Let's jump in. And obviously, let's discuss Thomas Frank and Marco Silva. By the way, good morning to you all. I won't do the individuals because we've got breaking news and I want to sort of jump in and talk about it straight away because it comes from Fabrizio Romano and he does discuss Thomas Frank 2 minutes ago, saying that Tottenham are prepared to advance in talks with leading candidate, Thomas Frank in the next days. The irony here is he also then goes on to say that Spurs also approached Roberto De Zerbi in recent days, but the Italian head coach rejected as he wants to stay in Marseille. Good, thank God. He's staying in Marseille. I do not want Roberto De Zerbi. If you have an issue with injuries and lack of performance through the league when you're in Europe, Roberto De Zerbi is your guy. Look, there's downsides to be honest. All the managers we're linked to. There's a lot of good things as well. Like let's try and be glass half full. Where's my drink? There's other drinks that apply, but a drink half full in a way. Let's talk about it. Look, Marco Silva and Thomas Frank. They are, in terms of positions in the Premier League, they are one position apart. One is 10th, one is 11th. That would be Marco Silva, and that would be Marco Silva being 11th, Thomas Frank being 10th. They finished 2 points apart. In reality, it came down to one team winning one more game and one team drawing one more game. That is literally it. Brentford were more prolific goal scorers. They scored 66 in their 38. They also conceded 57 in that time. So, something that you've got to take into account. Look, again, let's try and be glass half full on this. It does kind of look like Frank will be the guy. Is he the guy that will lead Spurs into what is it that Daniel Levy wants? Because I think how we sort of view our success is not the same as Daniel Levy views it. I mean, if you've been around the channel long enough, you would know. Ignore the bedhead. You would know that Daniel Levy doesn't really care about the Carling Cup because no owner really does. It's not that. No offense, there is no money in the Carling Cup, the League Cup, the EFL Cup, whatever you may want to call it. That's why a lot of the owners, it's not really a big thing for them. So cheers, adventurous big man. So look, there's that. You kind of have to kind of skip by with that. Obviously, looking at now going forward, Marco Silva or Thomas Frank, one of the two. We're not going to sort of talk about who I want just yet. Just sort of talk about going forward, what they really need to deliver. They need to have European success of some sort. I'm not saying they have to win the Champions League. That's not exactly a fair requirement. I would say they probably need to get into the knockouts. That's kind of my thinking about it. They need to get to the knockouts via finishing in the top 8 or winning their playoff. I would say they probably need to finish in the top 5 for European football going forward because obviously winning European Cups obviously isn't really the be-all and end-all. It's all about the league position. So obviously they're going to want then the top 5. So I think that's kind of the irony is now they probably want deep cup runs. They want the top 5 and they want Champions League football. To Daniel Levy, that is deemed success. Obviously to a fan, that's not deemed success. That isn't success. Look, to me, it's not deemed success. You might think top 5 success. If you do, all the power in the world to you. I'm going to politely disagree and just move on because I don't really want to talk about that. So look, let's see what happens on that front. But let's talk about the irony that actually, let's talk about the situation, the breaking news. Thomas Frank, #1 target. Spurs progressing to get Thomas Frank. Are we happy? Just a quick yes or no if we're happy on it or not. We'll talk about a little bit more about Thomas Frank in a minute. But yeah, let's have a sort of talk about it. Are we happy? Are we unhappy? I mean, it's probably the best of the options that we have available. You know, it's I don't think it's a wow appointment. I don't think we should be. No offense, I don't think we should be leaping for joy. I want him to do well. I have all the faith in the world that Thomas Frank will deliver 5th place and a bit of a cup run. So obviously Daniel Levy won't sack him, but I will 100% back him to the hill and back. Obviously, I won't be backing the guy upstairs. I have no interest in him, but I'll absolutely back the manager at 110%. But it isn't exactly that wow appointment. You know, it doesn't feel like we're taking that leap. You know, and don't get me wrong, we've also kind of done that leap before. And obviously then we chased those managers out. We chased Mourinho, we chased Conte. We've done the wow appointment. It hasn't worked. We attempt to do a rebuild. We then sacked the rebuild off. So the other thing as well, let's talk about that. Are you, the Spurs fan, in a scenario, let's think of a scenario like this, right? Next season, you now have to give Thomas Frank, in my opinion, you will have to give him 4 windows, 2 summers, including this one and the next, and the 2 Januaries. Maybe actually 3 summers because you're not going to get a very good January window this year due to the World Cup the following year. So in reality, he's probably going to need 3 summer windows and 2 Januaries to get the players that he wants to suit his system to deliver the success that Daniel Levy wants. Now, will Daniel Levy have the patience for that is another question. He didn't have that for other managers. He sort of had it for Ange, but, you know, we love a good merry-go-round at Tottenham, don't we? Let's do a hypothetical. Let's say he finishes 8th, okay? He finishes 8th, he gets to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and he gets to like the quarterfinals of one of the 2 domestic cups. Is that deemed success? Obviously, that means there probably wouldn't be European football for next year. There may be, potentially. Is that deemed success in people's eyes? You know, I'm just interested to see sort of what people think on that. Like, I'm not saying that like that's going to happen. I'm just trying to get an idea and a feel for what we as a community think is a success for next season. I think because what I'm saying is, because he's going to need multiple windows, are people going to be patient enough? I see the people on Twitter, the toxic humans on Twitter. I've just muted them. Just not interested in seeing their opinions. Are we going to be patient enough to say 8th, no European football, no cup success? Is that enough progress for everyone to be happy? Because obviously this year we win a European trophy, right? And obviously we sacked the league off halfway through the season. But so this season, let's say this season coming 8th, no European football, decent cup runs, nothing mental, but like some good cup runs. Is that enough for people to go, that's fine, I've seen a lot of improvement? Because that's the key thing. It's not about seeing a little bit of improvement. We do want to see a bit of a leap this year. Because the amount of people that tell me if Ange was manager next season, we finish 20th, we don't win 1 game of football in the Premier League. Because, you know, so is that success? So, like I said, 8th, a couple of maybe 1 or 2 good cup runs, one of which being in Europe to get to maybe like the knockouts, first round of the knockouts, maybe 1 more round. Would people feel confident going, yeah, all good, let's build on this? You know, let's build on this foundation, if you know what I mean. I mean, just see what you guys think. Caleb says it's not a success. Adventure says not a success. Finn says it'd be an improvement on 17th. I mean, there's no trophy, so it might be improvement on the league position, but it'll be going backwards on winning trophies. So, want to play that game, obviously. 8th and no trophy equals failure, says Ed. People are never going to be patient. Grass is greener on the other side. And exactly, you need to have patience. let's say Thomas Frank loses his first 2 games of the season, because it's possible, like, and he will deserve all the time in the world to try and get it right, okay? Are we going to be patient? Are people going to jump down his throat like they did Vicario on his debut? Are we going to jump down Vicario's throat the way? Are we going to jump down Frank's throat like we did Vicario after 1 game? Are we going to say Lucas Bergvall should go? Like he should have gone out on loan, right? Are we going to be patient enough with Thomas Frank that maybe it's going to take a little while? Because that's normal, by the way. When you get a new manager, what we do with Ange, in my opinion, is not the norm. For a team that finished 8th the season before to then be top of the league and everything like that, what I'm trying to get a feel, because in my opinion, yes, the league position probably improves. We're obviously not going to win the Champions League, right? So I don't think it's fair to try and compare the 2 European competitions. One is the second tier of European football. Winning it is obviously incredible, and no manager that we've had in 41 years has done that. But in terms of the cups, maybe a quarter-final, right? Something that we've kind of done this year. Ironically, it would be a step back, but that's just nitpicking. You know what I mean? 8th, maybe a cup run or 2. Would everyone feel that is a good foundation start? Because I think, as much as it's an improvement on paper, it's how that improvement looks. You know what I mean? It's not always about on paper. It's like when people go 22 losses. It's like, cool. Could you add in my context? No, 22 losses. It's like, okay, there's no point in conversing with this human being, is there? It's like when I tell you about the context about the Europa League, and it's like, yeah, there's context as to why we're really good in Europe this season. It's about adding context. Hence why with Frank, let's say we get 8th, we do, let's say we get to knockouts of Europe and we have a good cup run. I say good, quarterfinals isn't good, let's be real, but you know what I mean? Like a solid cup run. As long as the team's playing well, the team's gelling, because we're going to lose some players this summer. I do think Romero's gone, so we're going to have to rebuild on the fact that we're losing our best player this summer. Because no offense, and this isn't a dig at Thomas Frank, I don't think Romero wants to be here now. And it's not because he thinks he's better than Spurs. It's because he was very much an Ange guy. And if you're getting rid of the manager that the guy wants to play for, what is keeping him here? Right? He can go to Simeone, Argentinian, loads of unbelievable Argentinian players in and around that area, Spanish speaking. I get why he'd want to be there. Also, the weather's nicer. It's miserable today. It's been raining. It's been miserable today. So I totally get it. So we've got to make sure that we build around the idea that we can lose him. You might lose the other 1 or 2 first teamers. I think there's going to be a situation that Thomas Frank will be given, a handful of players, like 4, maybe 5 players this summer. I think a couple of them will be youth players, younger players that you're going to need to build up, like a Bergvall and Gray. Obviously, a lot of our fan base had 0 patience for Lucas Bergvall after 3 seconds against Leicester. Same way that no one gave Vicario any breathing room after his debut away at Brentford, by the way, Thomas Frank. And then obviously kept a clean sheet against Man United in the next game. And, it was pretty solid, to be fair. But, are we going to be patient? Because our fan base is not patient. They aren't. And I hope we are. I hope we give Thomas Frank, because I think it is going to be Thomas Frank, by the way. That's my out and out. I hope we are going to be patient with him, because he deserves people to back him and to not jump down his throat if we don't win our first game. Like, we might draw our first game, right? We don't know who we're playing first game of the season as well. So that's context to this point. But I really do hope people are going to back him and also be patient. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be bumps in the road. And that's normal, by the way. Thomas Frank's not going to win 38 games in the Premier League this season. I hope you understand that, right? And if you're one of those fans who thinks we should win a quadruple every season, I love your confidence. And don't ever lose that confidence, right? It's a bit bonkers, I won't lie, but let's not lose that confidence, right? Let's be patient. There's going to be bumps in the road. It's going to be ugly at times. That's normal when you get a new manager, by the way, especially for a team whose wage bill is closer to mid-table than it is the big boys, right? In terms of position, not exactly on numbers. Don't freak out. Is it's going to be there? There's going to be a bit of change in the squad. I think we're going to go a bit of a transition this summer. Are we going to be patient? Yes, I mean, Simon, Super Cup and fourth will do. The irony is you win a European trophy. I don't think that CONMEBOL Cup. I don't think the CONMEBOL, the UEFA CONMEBOL Cup, the Copa Sudamericana and the Europa League. I don't think they're going to play a game. I wish they did. It's an opportunity for another trophy. But you never know. Thomas Frank on his first big game for Spurs, currently, until they bring out the fixtures, we don't know obviously everything. Will he win a trophy? Because that already would make him a guy who's won a trophy quicker than, well, Ange included, but, you know, Conte, which is some people's favourite guy on earth, quicker than Pochettino, quicker than Mourinho, Nuno, AVB, Redknapp. You know, he could do it. And I would love it if he did it. I'd go, bloody hell, Thomas Frank, you might be one of Spurs' best managers. Like, fair bloody play to you. Fair bloody, Thomas Frank, I don't know if he's a beer drinker, but I'll bloody buy you a beer if you win the Super Cup, lads. You deserve it. And obviously, then he doesn't win his next game. It'll be, you know, hashtag Frank out, and it'll be super boring. You know what Twitter's like. You know, if you don't win a game, it's like that manager's the scum of the earth, like it always is on Twitter, which I'm glad this community's not like that. I'm glad this community has some sense to kind of go, hey, he's lost a game. Happens. Let's not kill him for it. It's like we did with Ange. You know, let's not kill him for it. He's Danish. I assume he drinks beer. I reckon that he's got a good taste for beer. I reckon wine. He looks like a wine drinker. I don't know why as well. I'm not a wine drinker. Maybe I'll have to get into wine to appease him. There you go. I'm fully backing him in the alcohol front. But look, we will. He loves a red. Oh, I bet he loves a red. He looks like a red. He's a bit of a swearer. Mate, if he can swear as much as he likes, as long as he wins games and we do well. Ooh, I wonder if he likes the summer fruit squash. That's a good point. If he doesn't like summer fruit squash, Frank out. I won't be having it. Frank out. I wouldn't say he's lost the dressing room. It's not fair to say he's lost the dressing room. Look, I'm very much pro Ange. Let's just get behind this new manager. You know what I mean? Daniel Levy, Frank will score same points as Ange. 0 wins, 38 draws, losses, invincibles. Hey, according to Lee McQueen last night, the whole board is in shook up. Even Levy pushed out this sun. All right. Don't believe everything you see on Levy, mate. All right. Yeah, I'm going to come to the transfer winner in just a second, Ed. That's a good point. If he drinks Carlsberg in the FL, he can, mate. He can go. Frank likes a Guinness and blackcurrant. He might. Al Dente, how are you, my friend? Yeah, Super Cup, let's be real. If we don't make the chances that are being shortlisted, we'll get stamped on. We'll be there, mate. We'll be there. I saw Pedro Porro play brilliantly at Desiree Doué. We'll be flying. Look, no, in reality, let's say, I mean, look, he needs to be appointed ASAP, by the way. That the longer we leave it, the worse our summer is going to be. The worse our season is going to be set up to be. We need to give him the fair chance of going, you come in early, let's nail down who you want. You know, don't like Spurs go, oh, you want these players? We love a club signing, and then just sign club signing players, right? You need to sign the guys for Frank now. Like I said about Ange, if you want this to be delivered, right? These are the goals, whatever the goals may be, right? And then the manager goes, cool, then I want these 4 players. And then Levy goes, you can have 2 of them and 2 youngsters. Then I would hope the manager goes, cool, so you want this? That's what you're going to get. And he goes, well, no, I want that. It's like, well, if you want that, you've got to play ball. And that's Daniel Levy's worst nightmare, by the way. Someone demanding him, you know, to come to the table and to deliver on a transfer market. But the longer you leave it, the worse it's going to get for Thomas Frank, in my opinion. The guy needs to come in. He needs to be in ASAP. He needs to look at. I hope he's looking at the squad already, going, "Don't want him. Don't want him. Don't want him." I kind of hope like the Daniel Levy kind of goes, look, we're going to look probably to move on maybe from a couple of players in the first team squad. Who would you like that to be? Ignore Romero. He's already leaving. Can't make him stay. Daniel Levy will try and force Atletico to pay 3,000 gajillion billion pounds, you know. Morning, Sean, how are you, my friend? You're going to have to deliver that. Like, no, look, it's going to be about 15 million in total for everything with Ange going and Thomas Frank coming in. That's going to take away probably from your summer transfer budget. Let's be real, like it is. You're welcoming Manuel Solomon back. It shows you everything about how this club thinks. If we welcome Solomon back, it's cheaper. We don't have to spend money on that left wing position. Shoot me now, Daniel. Coys. We got our Tottenham back, Daniel, hey? Honestly, I think he's in for a really, really rough ride. Not for Thomas Frank, by the way, Daniel Levy. I think he's in for an awful ride now going into next season. He's going to get booed every single possible minute of any game whenever he's on a screen. He's going to get booed now from now on. And unfortunately, and this is where I feel for Thomas Frank, who's most likely going to be the manager, right? De Zerbi's rejected us. Can I just say, we are in for a really, really difficult time if Thomas Frank says no. Because if it's Marco Silva, count me out. I'm just done. Like, we went from Conte and Mourinho, who played basically that brand of football, to then bring in a lesser version of that. Spent, 2 years trying to get away from that brand of football just to go back to it. Would rather just sack off and just go and support Leyton Orient or something like that. I'd just rather go and support someone else. Plymouth. The local team. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't rate Terzic at all. Morning, Sonia. Squad club trained issue. Yeah, squad clubs. It's going to be club trained issue. It's going to be absolutely. The only way it's not an issue is if you sign like Harry Winks, Oliver Skipp, Harry Kane, Carl Walker-Peters coming back. Scenes if Frank says no. Oh, jeez. Oh, that would be humbling. And we've already been rejected by De Zerbi, who was in his last season, bang average. Brighton fans, a lot of them wanted him gone, to be honest. And they got better after getting rid of him, the irony to it. But yeah, I feel for Thomas Frank because he's going to be in an awful position of how much this fan base is against the owner. Vinay, the new CEO, God, he has got one hell of a job trying to rebuild the bridges between Levy and the fan base, by the way. I really feel for Vinay. I think he's in for a really awful first year in the role because he's got a poison chalice. And unfortunately, Thomas Frank is having to drink out of that poison chalice as well. And I'm worried for both of them. Because at the end of the day, and this isn't a dig at Frank, by the way, don't we think it is? Look, I still want Ange. Happened. He's gone. Got to move on now. We've got to look forward. Wait for someone to go, we had this many losses. Shut up. Get out. Go touch some grass. Right? The key thing is those guys are unfortunately, they're fighting in a boxing match with a one arm tied behind their back. Those two. Not Daniel Levy, because he's the one that ties that arm behind their backs, right? And Vinay's got a horrific job lined up. You've got a situation where there was a bit of the fans a little bit more on side, and then Daniel Levy just went, yeah, watch this, bang, gonna rip that all up, and Vinay's like, brilliant. First few days, this is great, buzzing, can't wait to literally have to mend. This is what Newcastle and Mike Ashley basically had. That's what he's having to look at. He's like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna have to work a miracle to get through this, and get people a bit more on board, because you're not going to have people on board. People will support Frank, and I love that because he deserves all the support in the world. Up there, he will get no support. I will also, this summer, when it comes to transfer dealings, which I want to talk about again in just a second, we are not going to get wooed by, we signed this guy. No. We can talk about if it's a good signing or not, obviously. But end of summer, we're going to review it, and we are going to tear it apart in a good, bad way as well. Like, we're going to tear it apart in a good way, and like, this guy's going to be good. He's going to do X, Y, and Z. And then we'll also tear it apart in a bad way. For example, if Daniel Levy has his weird fetish and kink that he just doesn't want to buy left back, we will tear him apart limb for limb on the fact that he just refuses to ever buy a left back. It's fine, Daniel. We've got Sergio Reguilon. You might as well play me at left back, Daniel. All right? So yeah, we'll be analysing all of that. He will not get any wiggle room from me. I've had enough of Daniel Levy cutting corners on deals. So looking at the summer window, I would expect that the window shuts again in about 3 days' time, right? And then it opens again on the 16th. Okay. So it's shut for about a week, basically. That's just to the Club World Championship, by the way, right? Or Club World Cup, whatever it's called. I don't really care. Nobody cares about it. It's just money grabbing. All I'm going to say is now it's June 7th. Let's say he joins on Monday. I don't think he will. I think it might be going into next week when he joins. By the way, you get him every single backroom staff that he wants. You give him exactly what he needs, by the way. I will not be having Thomas Frank given 1 or 2 coaches. You give him his team. Because we love cutting corners on coaches as well when it comes to their backroom staff. Here's Ryan Mason again. Here's Ryan Mason. So there's that, right? But then looking at, the transfer window as a whole. Let's say he joins on 9th of June. I probably would say we won't sign him until the back end of June. So be patient is all I'm going to say. Don't expect us to be signing someone today, tomorrow, the day after. It's going to be a little while because the new manager's not even here. And if we sign anyone, it shows that Daniel Levy and Johan Lang don't really give a crap about who the manager is. It'll all be about, he's a good club signing. We like a club signing, us, Daniel. Conte's like, who the hell is Jed Spence and why is he here? And Daniel and Fabio Prasci going, but we like Jed Spence. Jesus wept. Imagine he loses his first 7. Oh, Jesus Christ. He loses his first 3. The fan base will be killing him, let alone 7. Hire a manager, don't fully back him, sack the manager and repeat. Oh, I love it. We will be there. Got black currant and cherry today, by the way. It's a solid one. It's quite sweet, but it's solid. When you say give Frank 4 chance windows, don't you mean give Levy 4 windows and see which bargain buys he can sign? I've heard he's going to offer managers 18-month contracts. That means because he can sack them and it's cheap to sack them. Simple as that, really. I know he turned out okay, Kulu's elusive right foot, by the way. How are you? It was that Conte didn't want him. It was a club signing, and we kind of need to get away from this idea of signing players for the club and signing players for the manager. Like my opinion is, let's say Thomas Frank is a guy that loves a 3-5-2. Okay, he plays a multitude of different formations, but let's say he plays a 3-5-2. Cool, right? Now you need to go out and buy strikers. You need to buy centre backs. You need to buy wing backs. You need to buy players for that system because there might be some players in that squad right now who don't suit that system. You need to go and do that. Let's say he plays a 4-2-2. Cool. Right. You need to go and buy players for those systems. You need to go and buy players that are going to suit the manager. We need to stop signing players that suit the football club because that's gone really well for a long time, hasn't it? There's no way Man or Solomon was an ange signing, by the way. You know what I mean? Like it's free. He was free. It was a club signing, and I quite liked it at first, but then it was like, I watched him play and it was like, yeah, he's all right, but he's never going to go because I want to be in the Champions League. I want to win trophy. He's not going to be that guy for you. It was like that in the Championship, but again, the Championship's the league below. You cash in on him this summer. I think our squad is pretty decent for either 3 or 4 at the back. Well, if he plays a 3-back, then you need to go and buy centre halves because you currently got at the moment 3 centre backs because Vuskovic is not here. Okay, he's not here yet. He'll join at the end of the month, so technically you're on 3, and Romero may leave, so you're down to 2. Unless you want to. Oh, I swear, like, no offense, love the guy. Thank you for your service, but if they extend Ben Davies, you can just tell that is cheap. We're going cheap. We want to make some savings somewhere, and extending Ben Davies would be that cheap option. Is Thomas Frank confirmed? No, he's not confirmed. We are advancing. Romano's tweet on that. Brantford more tempting to go for a back 3. Well, well, that's the other thing. Like, homegrown issues this season. That's why we're linked with Gomez. We're linked with Branthwaite, Tamori. We've been linked with other English players. There's been so bloody many. It's why we're linked with Gallagher for so long, Yeah, no, I know we've got those coming in, Francis. I'm talking about right this second. Ashley Phillips, yeah, but again, is he going to be used or is he going out on loan? You know, we need to get off this Poch thing. He's not coming. I promise you, lads, Pochettino is not coming to Spurs. All right. He's got a massive deal with the US. He'll be there till the end of at least next season. It won't be Poch. All right. By the way, I do love that Heung-Min Son called in his post right at the end a Tottenham Hotspur legend forever when he talked about Ange, and he's honestly spot on. Man United sell all these players, and we won't even get any world class players. Again, it's world class players. I mean, Man United aren't like Cunha's not a world class player. I like Mbeumo. I think Mbeumo's a good player. He's not a world class player. I don't think there's actually an abundance of world class players in football at the moment. I think we've got one at Spurs. We sold one a couple of years ago, but we didn't really have. We had a sort of handful at best. Sonny when he was a bit younger. Yeah, we need to cash in, Caleb. I agree. There's a lot of positive thanks to Ange. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we love going cheap. If we pay back a back three, I mean, all I'm going to say is there's a lot of pressure to put on Phillips and Dorrington. That's all I'm going to say. They've got to be ready. If they're not ready, you need 6 centre backs. In my opinion, 2 per position. You place back 3. Give me 6 centre backs. Yeah, maybe one of them's young, but then I want 5 proper centre backs, and none of this Ben Davies lark. All right, I'm done with. No offense, Ben's been a wonderful servant. I love him. He needs to. It's time. It's just time. You know. Yeah, it is Boris. No, I don't like Terzic, Sofian. I think I said earlier, but I don't rate him. No. A lot of issues when it comes to Terzic. Hey, Kate, how are you? We just started a squad, absolutely. Yeah, you've got to give a squad finally. Like Poch never had the squad. Conte never had the squad. Mourinho's never had the squad. Levy's going to have to actually look at the squad with Frank, with Lang. Like Lang's been wanting Frank for a while, so he's going to get his guy. You've got to deliver now to Frank. You've got to get the players in that suit him. All right. And if you don't do that, you're setting another manager up for failure. Just saying. It says in Portugal news, Silva is close to joining Spurs as manager. Thomas Frank, Fabrizio Romano said that Thomas Frank is top of the list, and we're progressing on him. About half an hour ago, it came out. I recommend checking out if you missed it. For anyone, obviously. Rather have Vuskovic stay than Phillips. Again, let's just see on that. Who's better, Frank or Silva? I don't think there's a ton between them. I'd say Frank I'd prefer. But, I mean, they finished 2 points apart, Brentford and Fulham. You know what I mean? It's not like one finished 5 places above them and finished 20 points clear. It's a handful of points, you know. It's you know. Do you think Cherky's going to City? Yeah, he is. We don't have depth in the squad for 4 fronts. What's that say? It says that Daniel Levy hates actually having to have a squad that requires money, especially on the wages. Someone's going to take that out of context. Buzzing for that. Can't wait. What's the chance of getting Farioli and Motta? Hopefully 0. If it's Farioli, count me out as well. Not interested. Should have just kept Ange, to be honest. Motta is. I think Motta is exciting due to his Bologna days, but like you watched him at Juve, and it was the guy couldn't get a team to score. Loved a draw as well, didn't they? Yeah, look, it's pick your whatever you fancy about Frank or about Marcus. So it's up to you how you deem it. I think it will be. It will be Thomas Frank. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I was just having a look at something again, but yeah, it does look like Frank is going to be the number 1 option. I don't want to go back to Poch. I can't lie, lads. I will be so honest with you. I get why some of you do. You want to go back to how you felt happy about the club, but he's not leaving the US setup. Spurs aren't going to pay the price it's going to cost to get him as well. He's going to cost more than some footballers that have been bought by this football club. And I'm not talking like your Bergvall amounts. I'm talking way more. You think United's the poison chalice in the graveyard for a lot of managers? What do you think Spurs is? Spurs is, if people think Spurs is some unbelievable job and it's not a poison chalice and a bit of a graveyard for some managers, Spurs is that now. We don't, like, previous to Ange, who got given any time, like serious time? Some of them didn't even make it a year. Nuno lasted, what, 3 months? We are not a good job for a manager to come into on paper, all right? I don't like Farioli for the fact that you want to talk about bottling something. Farioli. Yeah, 20 mil for Poch. It's like, nah, I'm all right. I might as well get Thomas Frank, to be honest. Let's be honest. Frank, by what I've seen the last sort of 5 or 6 years, Thomas Frank will be given about a year and then he'll be gone. And then you can get Poch in a year because he'll be done with the US setup. That's unfortunately the way it's been recently. Who would be my first choice as manager? I think realistic, it's going to be Frank. I don't think there's not an option for other names. It's just the options just aren't there on the table. You know, 2 years, long time for a Spurs manager. It is. That's like Sir Alex Ferguson for 2 decades. Bissek drags your swap deal in the media. Again, Sean, it depends on the manager. You know, if Thomas Frank absolutely loves Radu Dragic, he'll be staying. He absolutely hates him. You have to sell him. You have to move him on. You know, he might hate Bissek. He might not want Bissek. And it's like, well, we can't be going there now. Because whenever we talk transfers in the past, it's always been based on the idea that Ange is here for next season. Because he was the manager. We had no idea who else is going to be. But now it's Thomas Frank. You've got to start thinking ahead about what players suit him. He's most realistic. Yeah, Jews alien. Juz alien, I think it is. No, we don't hate Thomas Frank as an option. I don't hate Thomas Frank as an option. I'm annoyed about how long it's taken. I think Daniel Levy was hoping the longer he left it, people would turn on Ange more and come back to the idea of sacking him. And it pushed people further actually into being with Ange. And it's blown up in his face. Blown up in his face massively. You know, De Zerbi's rejecting the job because he's like, why would I come to you? I've got security at Marseille. You'll sack me in a year. What's the point? You're not going to get the player. Like, De Zerbi's big thing at Brighton was they didn't get the players that he wanted. They do at Marseille. We wouldn't do that. We'd go, you can have one, and then we're getting the rest for them for you. You know? I went players from Nuno's departure. A long time ago now. Glasner for me over Frank. Yeah, well, Glasner staying at Palace. Fair enough, pitch sides. But look, we'll see on Thomas Frank. By the sounds of things, it is going to be the Danish man himself. I can't believe we even talked to Roberto De Zerbi. We're falling off the cliff as we speak. You know, Glasner. I think Glasner not long ago signed a new long-term deal at Palace. He'll be staying there. We have 5 top players. Yeah, we could do with a bloody new chairman as well. Betting favourite is Thomas Frank. But we'll see. But again, are we going to be patient? Are we going to give him the time? Are we going to give him respect that he deserves and should be given? I've had no evidence from Spurs Twitter, not the actual literal Spurs official, but Spurs fans on Twitter. I've seen no evidence they'll give any patience. Like I said, they hated Vicario after one game on his debut in a London derby away from home at Brentford. Slagged him off, called him awful, called him crap. Turns out he's actually quite a good keeper. Fair enough. All right. We've seen it with other players as well. Like, I hope they're going to give him the time. I really do. Will he, though, is another question, but we shall see. Look, thanks so much for joining me today and this morning. I want to go have a nap. I'm knackered after the last sort of 24 hours. I'm going to have a nap. But thanks so much for joining me this morning. Go and look after yourselves. Go and enjoy the rest of your mornings, your afternoons, your evenings, wherever you are in the world. Tomorrow will be a brighter day, hopefully. Tomorrow will be a better day. Tomorrow, hopefully, you have more clarity. We shall see. Look after yourselves today. Have an amazing Saturday. And I'll speak to you all a little bit later if anything breaks. But if not, tomorrow, talk a lot more about Tottenham. Take care, everyone. Peace.